Hi Crafty Anew family, welcome to my channel. Today's video, we're bringing you 4 Halloween DIYs. Stay tuned! For our first DIY, you're going to need a Happy Harvest truck sign from the Dollar Tree. And I do know they still have these, at least at my Dollar Tree. And then I'm using Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in Adirondack and Waverly chalk paint and ink. And we're going to start out by removing the leaf off the truck and the jute twine. And we're just prepping it to paint. And once we have all that removed, we're going in with our Waverly chalk paint ink, and we're going to give this a really good coat. And you want to make sure you get all the edges. And once we've gone over our sign with our Waverly ink paint, I'm going in with some Waverly chalk paint and elephant, and we're going to draw on the treads of the tire, and we're going to outline the entire truck with this. And you're also going to paint in the bumper and all the edges. And right here I'm just painting in the bumper so that it shows up, and we're just adding definition to the truck. Since we painted it black, you can't really tell what it is. So that's what we're doing with the elephant gray. And then here I'm just adding in some tail lights, which I realized this was an unnecessary step because the sign we're putting on this covers up the tail lights. So it's up to you if you want to add tail lights. And now we're just going to outline the truck. I'm separating like where the truck bed would be with the tail end. And then you also want to add some definition to the window. And I'm really just going by the front of it. I kind of copied like how the front of this sign was made. Now I'm going in with my Adirondack paint, and I'm just going to highlight those areas that we contoured out with the elephant gray. And this is just going to add some more depth and dimension to it. Now I'm going to take this Happy Halloween wooden sign that I found at the Dollar Tree, and they still have these also, and I'm going to paint all the letters in white. So I'm going to paint Happy Halloween in my white Adirondack paint. And I went over this twice, so 2 good coats. With the Waverly chalk paint and ink, I'm going to paint all the bats. And again, with the ink color, I noticed you only need 1 coat, so you won't have to go over the bats twice. And we're going to paint all the bats with the ink color. And now I'm going in with my elephant gray, and that's the color I'm painting the pumpkin. And you can do these in any colors you want. You can paint the pumpkin in orange, you can paint Happy Halloween in black and white. This is just my preference, and these are the paints that I chose. And there's what you should have so far. Now, once we have that all painted, I'm just applying hot glue to the Happy Halloween sign, and we're going to glue it to the back of our truck. And there's what you should have so far. And I did accidentally crack it. These are very thin, so they're easy. I mean, they're very easy to break, so be very careful with it. But you can't tell. I went over it with a little bit of paint, so. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking that same black paint that we used, and I'm going to make polka dots all over my Happy Halloween. And you just want to add as many or as little polka dots as you want. It's all preference. Now I'm taking this ribbon that I purchased from Hobby Lobby, and I am going to make me a little bow to put on the top. And it's just a simple bow. You just tie it together with some jute twine and slap it on top of the truck. Easy peasy. Now with that same jute twine that we took off the sign to begin with, I'm going to glue it back on here, and this is what we're going to hang it with. And then once I glue down the ends, I'm just going to take some scrap cardboard and put it over the ends there so that I know it'll stay. We're just going to cover up that glue. So yeah, nothing went to waste on this project. Everything was used. And there you have it. Happy Halloween, everybody. So for our second project, you're going to need a set of window clings from the Dollar Tree and these two signs also from the Dollar Tree. Everything in this project will be from the Dollar Tree. You're also going to need Waverly chalk paint and ink and this Halloween ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to remove everything from the signs, and we're going to take the signs apart, and then we're going to fill in these holes with some spackling, and we're going to give it a good coat of the Waverly chalk paint and ink. Now you don't need any special tools to take this trio sign apart. It's just glued on there, so it comes right off. And then I'm going to save that ribbon for another DIY in the future. And then once we have that torn apart, we're also going to paint it black. Once we have all of our pieces painted, we're going to take our Home Sweet Haunted Home window clean and some Mod Podge. And we're going to give this big piece, we're going to coat it with Mod Podge. And I actually used quite a bit because it's easier for me to move the window decal around once you put it on there. Then we're just going to center that decal, and we're going to coat it with another coat of Mod Podge so it'll stay. You want to make sure you work out any bubbles. Now with these smaller squares, you can do this however you want. Again, it's just preference. But I added some of the spider web window clings to them along with the spiders. But you can arrange this however you want. So this is just how I did it. You want to make sure that after you apply the decals, you want to go back over them with another coat of Mod Podge so you know that they'll stay. And then I'm just adding little bats here. That's also part of this decal set, and I'm adding those onto my main sign. And again, you're just going to arrange this however you want to arrange it. I had to cut this bigger spider web down because I wanted to use all the pieces. So to fit those in the corner down at the bottom of my sign, I had to cut the bigger one in half. Now I'm just going to take this ribbon, and this is what we're going to attach all those smaller signs to the bigger signs with. And I'm making a small bow because I decided that this needed a little more dimension and texture. On this last square, I'm actually using a plastic spider, and we're going to put the bow on and just glue the plastic spider to the bow. If you can't find these decals, these window clings at the Dollar Tree, you can always print out something on your Cricut, or you can use stickers or stencils or freehand it, which I cannot do, but there's people out there that are really good at that. And then I'm taking this other ribbon. I know I didn't show it at the beginning, but I decided to add a little more orange to the top. So I'm just folding that over the top, and we're just going to glue that down. Because I decided that this needed more, like I said, more dimension. And then I just made another simple bow out of that same ribbon, and I'm just attaching it to the corner there. And now I'm just arranging the pieces how I'm going to put it together. So I'm taking that spider web ribbon, and I'm cutting 2 equal pieces, and I'm going to attach those 2 little squares to the big one with those 2 equal pieces. So we're just going to flip the sign over, and we're going to flip our ribbon over because you want to make sure the ribbon is showing in the right direction because this is not two-sided ribbon. And we're just going to hot glue that down where we want it. And now I'm just taking that third square that has the bow and the spider on it, and I want that to be the bottom square. And so I'm just going to take a piece of this ribbon, and we're going to attach it to both of those top squares. So just gluing the edges there. You can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to take this orange and black ribbon that we used to cover the top up with, and I'm going to use this to make a hanger. So with the piece still turned over, I'm just going to glue the edges to the back, and this is what we're going to use for the hanger. Again, you want to make sure that the printed side of the ribbon is facing outward. And now, of course, you know me, I like all my projects finished, so I'm just taking some craft paper and I'm just going to cover the back so that it doesn't drive me crazy. And then this makes this project complete. And I loved how this piece turned out. It's so unique and has so much dimension. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it. And you can also see by using the window clings, since they're see-through, the white kind of turned out gray, which I also loved how that turned out. So for our next project, you need one of these tabletop signs from the Dollar Tree and 3 wooden pumpkins. It comes in a pack of 5 from the Dollar Tree. I'm also using Harvest Orange, Adirondack, and ink. And you can use any colors you want. And then I used my Cricut and I printed out these real tiny little symbols of a spider, ghost, and a bat. So with my Harvest Orange, I'm going to paint all 3 pumpkins, and we're going to give both front and back 2 good coats. I forgot to show you at the beginning that I also used my Cricut and printed out the letters EEK to spell eek. So I'm just transferring those onto the pumpkins. I didn't use any transfer paper because they were big enough for me just to be able to put on there like a sticker. You can put boo, you can put eek, you can put whatever you want to put on there. Now I'm taking those little bitty decals that I printed out on my Cricut and I'm going to cover up those holes on these pumpkins. And it's going to look three-dimensional because it doesn't cover the entire stem of the pumpkin. So they're going to kind of be hanging out, which is a really cool effect. And you'll see it at the end when I give you a close-up shot. Now I'm taking my Adirondack paint and I'm making white polka dots on all 3 pumpkins. Once we have all of our white polka dots made, we're going in with our Waverly chalk paint and ink and we're making some black polka dots. And now we're just going to glue all of those pumpkins on top of our tabletop sign. And I'm just running a thin bead of hot glue on the bottom of each one and then on the side of each one because I want 2 in back and 1 in front. And this project is complete. And you can see how the little stickers at the top look pretty. And I love how this turned out, and it's perfect for an end table or a coffee table. Next, I bought these 3 burlap bags from Target Dollar Spot, which you could just use pieces of burlap if you want. And I honestly think pieces of burlap would just be easier because these bags were kind of a little bit of a pain, and you'll see why. And then I'm using 3 felt ghosts and the letters BOO from Target Dollar Spot. And I'm also using this thread and ribbon. Actually, that's like a baker's twine type thread. So I'm just going to design each one of these differently. On the black one, I'm putting the orange and black ribbon on the bottom, and then I'm going to attach the B letter. And those are made out of burlap also, and they have a sticky back. And I found those last year at Target Dollar Spot, but you could also just use stickers or cut out burlap in the shape of a bee. And you can see I had to glue these bags because all these bags had strings on them, and I had to glue the strings in the back, which the first one worked out great because it gave me a hanger to hang this from, but the other ones were kind of a pain. So if you could just use squares of burlap, that might actually work out better for you. This is just what I had on hand, and I had a vision, and I wanted to put the vision together. And then I'm taking a felt ghost, and I'm inserting it into the bag, and I'm using hot glue so that it'll stay. And there's our first one. There's our bee bag. Now I'm taking this baker's twine on this second one, which is an orange one, and I'm just going to outline all four sides with this baker's twine. And I'm just hot gluing it on the back. Now I'm just taking that third burlap bag and I'm just putting some more of this orange and black ribbon, and I'm just going to put it on the top and the bottom of this one. So you can see that each burlap bag is different, and I wanted a different design. So I'm just hot gluing this on the top, and then I'm taking another piece and hot gluing it on the bottom. Now we're just going to hot glue the O's onto the burlap bags, and just want to make sure you get it good and covered so that it'll stay on this burlap. And I know I'm using an orange burlap letter on orange burlap, so it doesn't really show up all that great. So maybe on this one, like, you could use black stickers, or you can paint it black, or like I said, if you have a paint pen, that may also work on this burlap instead of the stickers. Whatever your preference is. And then I realized this orange one needed a little more something, so I just made a simple bow out of that baker's twine. And now we're just going to hot glue all three of these together. And you can see the pattern I'm using. I want them offset from each other. So I'm just gluing the bottom corners. And then I'm going to insert the other two felt ghosts into the bags. And I'm using hot glue so they'll stay. And there's our Boo banner all complete. I think this is so cute, and I think it looks great next to a door or for a smaller wall. If you're interested in more Halloween videos, check out my Dollar Tree Halloween haul for 2020 by clicking the link, and I'll see you on that video. Bye!